Right, let's get the show on the road. Let me turn on my timer and let me explain what's going on for those that have never seen this before. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's that time of the month with the end of the month subscriber Q&A, in which I turn the chat room into subscriber mode and I sit down for 1 hour to answer questions directly from those that went above and beyond and subscribe to me on the Twitch channel. For those that are like, oh my god, I need to send you money in order to ask you questions. No, of course not. Every single stream, you're more than welcome to ask me questions. And if I don't catch them there, you're always welcome to send me a PM on Facebook. And I'll get back to you whenever I can. Now, before we begin, a little warning in advance. I don't know what questions people are gonna ask. They can be about Legion, they can be spoilery, they can be about anything and everything. I might not have an answer for all of them, but people are free to ask whatever they want. And I don't put any restrictions on it. So if you're like, I don't want any spoilers, then this is not the Q&A for you. And I say bye now. Thank you very much for watching. And please turn off the video. Right, everybody. Hello, chat room. How you doing? I'm ready for ya. Who's got questions? Are Legion gonna be the fourth war? Could be. Kinda depends. I don't think they have given a name to it yet. What's the lore behind Shadow Priest getting tentacles in Legion? Giggity! Is that a giggity emote? Well, Luxney, it appears that the Shadow Priests, they are no longer simply tied to the cult of the Forgotten Shadows. They now draw their powers from the Void and the Old Gods. Bing! They are very much into getting crazy. Getting Cho'Gall up in here. They tap into the powers of the Forbidden Old Ones. And, by reflection, they get to enjoy the tentacle stuff. Do-do-do-do. Is the light? Darn it, only 6 numbers in line before wham, last Christmas my joke out the window like that. Darn it. Is the light considered a religion? Is there any other religions in the Warcraft universe? Elune? In a way, it's considered a religion, as in those that follow the light, they go to church, they follow certain disciplines, they definitely preach and try to share its message, so in that way it's definitely a religion. You can check out for more details my story called The Light in World of Warcraft, in which I go into further details. Are there more religions in that direction? There are certain factions that follow certain virtues or ways of life, as in the Cenarian Circle, the Earthen Ring, you know, the whole bunch of factions that follow a certain ideology, and in a way you could call that a religion for sure. I think the prime example would be the one with Cho'Gall, Twilight's Hammer cult. Like, they are a cult all about the old gods and the end of the world. So that's definitely a good example as well. Paid freedom, right? Do you think Calia is alive or undead? If she's alive, where do you think she was? I'm hoping that they're gonna keep her alive and that she was simply hiding out. Like, a lot of speculated that Calia might have been hiding out in Fedamore. There was an NPC there, similar name. So a lot of people speculate about that. I actually done a Q&A number 26 from the top of my head, but it's titled Calia Menethil. More details can be found there. But I'm hoping that she's alive and well, that she witnessed whatever happened with Arthas, and that she was able to take one of those secret tunnels out of the palace to escape, and that she's been living her life. And if we try to imagine what someone like Calia would do, what would she want? I think she would want revenge upon the one that caused all her trouble and all her pain. So she could be a character connected to Kel'Thuzad. She could be a character connected to the Bolvar cameo. She could be a character connected to the future Scourge expansion. There's a whole bunch of possibilities that they can do with that. Can you give some more details on the Fury Warrior artifacts? I've talked all about the artifacts, a name with letters, in my video called Talking About the Artifacts. If you check the description, I've talked about each and every artifact, and there's actually a timestamp for each and every weapon what you're looking for. If you have like a specific question about the artifact, like a certain detail about it, then by all means ask it. If you're looking for the general information and the backstory, just go to that video. And Groomer, thank you very much for subscribing. Welcome, welcome. Who do you think is stronger, the Burning Legion or the Old Gods? Very hard to say. There are different sources that say different things. On the one hand, we have Sargeras that has the power to stab a freaking planet. On the other hand, we have statements that say that Sargeras and the Legion would kneel down for the might of the Old Gods. It kind of depends on who you're talking with. It kind of depends on what faction they are representing. In my opinion, they are pretty equal, in the way that power changes in Warcraft depending on what the story requires, which is a very poor way of telling a story. But at the same time, it is the way that it is. You know, Sargeras is uber power, but yet he doesn't have the power to instantly wipe us all out. It just depends on what the story requires in that regard. Now, a combination, what we're going to see in Legion, like Old Gods and Legion working together, it's going to be damn interesting to see, like, how that's going to turn out. So, yeah, like I said, depends on the source, and I think a swing both ways. How do you feel about Karas and Dalaran not giving us set its? I mean, we raided one, and we was taking over another with overpopulation, and we was fighting the Old Gods and a great threat, yet still nothing. I'm not sure what you mean with set its. Like, what do you mean, Karazhan and Dalaran not giving us set its? What does that mean? And hello, Akbala. Do you think there's a chance of Anduin making Greymane leader of Stormwind? Maybe. Like anything, there's always a chance, right? Anything's possible at this point. I hope not. I personally hope more for the direction of Anduin is trying to lead his people, the humans. And he's not the global leader of the Alliance as Varian was, because Varian was elected in by all the other leaders. And, yeah, I hope that that's not going to be the case. Really? Is that really needed? Hang on. There we go. Just gotta set up my screen right. Cool, done. Right, like I was saying, I'm hoping for some more internal drama in that regard. I'm hoping for some conflict within the Alliance, because I feel there's a dire need for it. I feel that over the expansion progressions, we've seen the Worgen unite within the Alliance. We've seen the Alliance come together as a single faction under Varian's leadership. We've seen the Dwarven clans come together. They are such a powerful uber juggernaut right now that I would love some internal conflict. I would love for the Worgen to try and take over, because they are like, hey, Sylvanas is Warchief now, let's take her out. I would love to see the Night Elves be like, you know what, Anduin is just not experienced enough, we gotta step away. I would love for everybody to go like their own way and be like, yeah, this is not the alliance that I signed up for, so I'm just gonna go, we're still Alliance, but I'm just gonna go back to the way we were before Varian took over. And then of course the Legion story progression definitely has potential. There's a lot of potential for maybe Varian is gonna come back later, maybe Anduin is gonna be like, okay, I tried it the peaceful way, it's time to break out the shadow powers and we're gonna go nuts. There's so much potential there. So I'm hoping, long story short, that the Greymane does not take over as leader of the humans, but I am hoping for some definite drama there. Apparently I'm Crusade, unknown, cool. The raids are not going to be scaled for the legendaries, so you don't need them to kill bosses on Mythic. They will help, of course, but they are not needed. It will be a bit unfair if some raid teams have the legendaries because they were lucky, but that's how it is. If you want to be very competitive, then go farm them. I like the system and find it very fair. I think this is in reaction to what we talked about earlier, the whole legendary system. And like I mentioned, I'm very much in the same line as Preach's video. I don't think it's fair, if you want to be competitive, that you should farm something that has a chance to never drop. That's not competitive, that's just getting lucky. I personally, the system won't affect me that much, but I can see how it would definitely damage the raiding scene. And I don't really see the point of adding legendaries with stats that are fun to have, don't get me wrong, but you're not really going to use them unless you really raid. So I would rather see cosmetic changes for the legendary items or not at all. But yeah, if you find it a fair system, that's fair. You know, that everybody has their own opinions about it. That's how it works in the world. It would be very boring if everybody just fought the same way in the same line. It would be very, very boring. Can you give me some more details on the Fury Body artifact? I already responded to that one in the name of letters. Maybe I'll see you later on. Do you think that Maiev Shadowsong could realize demon hunters to make herself the new white whale to hunt down? Do you think Maiev Shadowsong could release demon hunters to make herself a new white whale to hunt down? That would be so freaking cool. Like Maiev is just bored out of her mind and she's like, you know what? I really miss the hunt. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna give you a head start. You guys can go. Just run along now. I'll see you in a few patches. Like, okay, ready to hunt again. Wah! Yeah, that would be awesome. But it's hard to say. Like, why does Maiev, the one that actually imprisoned the demon hunters, why is she all of a sudden letting them out again? I'm still hoping for the Maiev Illidan shipment. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're crazy. And it is a crazy thought. It's not to be taken seriously. But it's a lot of fun to speculate about. Do you think Sylvanas is a good choice for Warchief opposed to Bane, etc.? I think she's the most interesting one. Like, define good. What is the best for the Horde? Like, a lot of people said that Garrus Hellscream was actually a very good Warchief, and I would have to agree with them. He was dishonorable at some point, because they had to turn him into a bad guy. But he wasn't a bad Warchief for the Horde. Like, Thrall was ready to let his people starve in the desert. At least Garrus took action and changed things. So how do you find good? I think she's an interesting choice, and time will tell how she's gonna do. Her description says, like, is she gonna sacrifice her own soul for the sake of her people? Are her people the Horde? Interesting stuff, man. And that's what I like. I don't care so much about the good side or the bad side winning. I don't care so much about a single character getting attention over the others. I just want a fun and interesting storyline, to be honest. And Legion, if it delivers, definitely has the potential for it. Do you think that the Maelstrom was an appropriate choice for the class hall for Shamans? What about the Throne of Elements? Like, the Throne of Elements could have been a place, but I think the Maelstrom looks a little bit more interesting. If you know what I mean. Like, you got like the vortex and lightning and stones and everything. I think the Maelstrom is an excellent choice, to be honest. How do you feel about the new transmog system? I'm very happy about it. Inventory space is always great. I'm probably not going to make much use of it, because I'm much more of a one transmog will do me just fine kind of person. But I know a lot of people that really enjoy the transmog scene and really enjoy getting different sets ready to go for RPing and whatnot. And you can see the crowd response, right? A lot of people are really happy with the whole transmog system, so I'm all for it, man. What artifact do you want the most? To play with the Ashbringer. To investigate the storyline behind it is the Shadow Priest artifact. And the Warrior artifacts with the whole Thoradin soul bit, that's really cool. And Death Knights, because I want to get the blessing of the Lich King. So I had this idea. Greymane throws Varian off a cliff. A group of running torrents kill Varian by trembling him. Greymane claims the kingdom. Anduin has to fight Greymane to get his kingdom back, all the while being followed by a swine and a wild squirrel, following the advice of a wise old monkey. In his Worgen form, like, long live the king! Yep. That actually works so very well, Weber, you have no idea, man. I just imagine, like, the spirit of Goldrin coming out of Varian, like, no, brother! And then Greymane is like, and then Anduin is like, Father! No! But who would be the hyenas, though? Who would you send off to be the hyenas? Question for you, chat room. Who would you send off to be the hyenas? What Elune exactly is? Elune is a goddess worshipped by the Night Elves. She is actually a power-giving force, as in she has given Troander the power to manifest weapons, mirror images. She has fed her, literally kept her from starving. Velen has mentioned that Elune is very similar to the Naru, but the Night Elves were like, hush hush now, don't mention that again. Which is funny, because Velen also mentioned that the Naru on Draenor was actually a Naru, where the orcs were like, no, that's not a Naru. That's our gods. That's our ancestors. So I would say that's a Naru, but it's not been confirmed. It's a goddess kind of creature. If you could have one artifact in real life, what would it be? If I could have one artifact in real life, what would it be? Like just for the artifact system, I imagine, yeah? Like not all legendaries? That's a toughie. That's a tough choice right there. I think I would like the Doomhammer. Why? Because it smacked the shit out of Garrosh. And I like that. That I can just look at it and be like, yep, that's the weapon that smacked Garrosh. Real Gul'dan died in the Tomb of Sargeras, but there are only Demonkin in there. Why would they kill him, since he was on Team Legion's side? Because not all demons are under direct control of their master. If you look back at the storyline between Sargeras, Kil'jaeden and Archimonde, like Kil'jaeden corrupted the orcs in order to take care of Velen. And then Archimonde was like, yo, the boss is not happy, we gotta go. Well, at the same time, Sargeras inside of Medivh was like, oh yeah, I can use these orkies that were left behind. And then he brought them to Azeroth, so it seems like they weren't really communicating with each other. On top of that, Gul'dan was not so much working for the Legion as he was about claiming power. And he wanted Sargeras' power. Like, yeah. Don't think Sargeras was very happy about that. How do you feel about Karazhan and Dalaran not giving us Set Its? I don't know what Set Its is. I mean, we raided one and was taken over with overpopulation. I don't know what you mean, UDO. I don't know what you mean, matey. Maybe somebody else knows. Has Maiev been data mined? Image of Maiev, yeah. Do you think Blizzard is relying too much on the old bearer of artifact weapons to make them epic, rather than making the weapon themselves seem epic? Depends. I don't think you can really answer this question at this point, because we haven't seen the storyline that's connected to it yet. We don't know how the entire story progression is going to go during Legion. So there's no answer for that. But I will have to agree that a lot of weapons are based on like old lore, which is something that they're using as a selling point. Like, look, this is the weapon that Aegwynn used, even though she should have been using the Guardian Staff, Aetish. And look, this is the weapon that Elode used, even though, you know... So they're definitely working with that. But at the same time, you know, what do we expect? Like, I'm all for that, to be honest. Do you see a development where Calia and Anduin might hook up? Isn't she like in their 30s though? And Anduin is like 17? I mean, nothing's impossible, but that seems like quite an age difference in that regard. Although he has been mentioned to be wiser beyond his years, so who knows. What do you feel about all these legendaries in Legion? They're gonna kinda the way they do with them in Diablo 3. Pretty much anything can drop as a legendary, but some mobs have a higher chance. In my opinion, like I mentioned before, I'm very much on the same line as Preach, as in, it seems like a fun system on the outside. But my first reaction was like, okay, legendaries are gonna drop everywhere in the world. What's the point of making them legendary to begin with? Like, the whole color scheme seems to be out of whack with the system. Then there's the question like, what am I, the random player, which is aimed at, what am I gonna use it for? Like, kick the crap out of challenge modes? I'm not gonna raid with them. So it seems like they're more valuable to raiders, whereas they also do a lot of damage to the raiding scene, because if you're in a competitive scene or you really, you know, you want to get those kills, then you're sort of forced in order to get these legendaries, which have a random drop chance, so there is too much randomness in that regard. Whereas I agree, why not make it a cosmetic change? Why not give these legendaries cosmetic options, or give them something that doesn't do that much damage to balance and whatnot. Not to mention that we already have a whole artifact system that we can toy around with, we can play around with. I don't really see the point of adding it, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, check out Preach's video, and yeah. How do you feel about Karazhan and Dalaran not giving us these artifacts? Oh, like that. Yeah, but UDL, that just falls into the lines of, they weren't ready to give us these artifacts yet. Like, they could have opened the vaults and be like, here's an artifact, but it would have made any sense. There was no system attached to it. Like, I like it that they remembered the Dark Riders. I liked it that they remembered the vault in Dalaran, and that they actually placed artifacts there. I'm very interested in seeing how that's all gonna go down. Does Vol'jin have a child or a mate? No. He was tempted in the novel Shadows of the Horde. There was this troll, which I don't remember the name of. My apologies, but she was like, "Oh, Vol'jin, together we will rule the world!" And Vol'jin was like, "Well, maybe." And then was like, "Psych! Not gonna happen. The Hoarder's family." So yeah, that's as far as I know for Vol'jin and his mates. How do I get into the garrison? I had invites at the start, matey. Invites are now closed. But what I remember off the top of my head, someone was killed and forced into a weapon. Or was used in the weapon. Who was she and what roles has she played in the past? You mean for the warrior artifact? Hang on. I can look it up. Hang on. Artifacts Legion. Or better yet, Artifacts Legion. I like it how the Wowhead website pops up first over the original WoW website. That's quite impressive. Learn more. Then we go to the warrior. Stromkar, Valajar, and Urwarder. Nope. Nah, there's the one with the whole Helia bits. There's the whole one with King Thoradin bits. And then there's the skill of Varian used. But like I said, check out my video about the artifacts in which I talk about them. I wish there would be some kind of hardcore Worgen stuff, like a full expansion for Worgens. Me too, man. Like, I hope Legion gives more love to the Worgens. They haven't done anything since their starting zone. And in connection to that, Warorg just subscribed. Thank you very much, Warorg. Who do you think the Alliance will see as the leader if it's not Anduin? Like the Global Alliance? I don't see a reason why they should have a global leader, but... The problem is they have put so much focus on Varian that none of the other leaders seem really capable of leading. Because they all fell under the shadow of Varian. Like, oh, Varian, you're so amazing! Oh my god, I wish my children would be like you! Like, yeah, I know. Because I'm Varian. So yeah. It's interesting. But I don't really see anybody capable of taking up the role of leader, to be honest. Do you feel Sylvanas becoming temporary Warchief is just pandering to the players rather than picking a Warchief to make sense in Vol'jin's absence? Would the rest of the Horde really agree with Sylvanas as Warchief? Well, I talked a little bit about it in my Legion Datamine video. Like, it's the question, how does it all go down? And we have no idea. We only know that she is mentioned as Warchief Sylvanas. Is it something along the lines of, hey, look, Vol'jin's gone, now's my time to shine? Or is it in the sense of, guys, is there anybody else able to pick up leadership? No? Really? I just want to stay alive. Bane, you? Lorfamar? No? Oh, okay, I guess I'll do it then. We don't know. Is it pandering to the fans? Absolutely. There is a reason why Sylvanas was in the trailer. There is a reason why Illidan is coming back. There is a reason why all of this is happening. And a lot of people are saying like, oh yeah, this is because Warlords of Draenor was, you know, so negatively received because it was such a letdown later on. But these expansions are developed way earlier, right? And if you look at the storyline, I still have the feeling that Mist connects way better to Legion than it ever did to Warlords. So I just got a feeling that after Mist, they were more planning on Legion than they were planning on Warlords. Yeah, it's a lot of fan service, absolutely. But do we care? I don't. I'm just looking for a fun time. Why the fuck would I care if it's fan pandering or whatnot? Give me Sylvanas, give me the drama, give me everything. Did you see this response from the crowd? Or did you hear it when Sylvanas showed up in the trailer? Everybody was like, yes, Sylvanas! Me included, I was like, oh, yes! For Azeroth! It was freaking epic, man. So absolutely. The Dreadlord Jaina. Do you believe she went crazy from the devastation, or do you think the mana bomb corrupted her mind? Mentioned in Tides of War was a possibility that it corrupted her mind. In this case, maybe she could be healed. I don't think Jaina lost her mind, matey. I actually did a very long on it called Tides of Lore, Jaina is a Dreadlord, in which I explain her train of thought and explain the storyline that they tried to tell. I still don't believe that Jaina's crazy. I still believe that she's the most logical character out there. So the whole corruption, there was a bit of corruption in Tides of War. But she, if you remember the part where she like cried mana tears and that was no longer a thing, then her eyes stopped glowing. I think there was definitely a bit of corruption during that book, but it's in that book it already left her. So yeah. Do you think Blizzard's storytelling has improved over the years? Absolutely. The story itself might not be to the taste of everyone. But the storytelling has improved with in-game voice acting, with quest lines to actually connect, with in-game cinematics, with outside cinematics, with outside resources like Lords of War or Emperor Xiaohao, with comics, with free short stories. Absolutely. I don't think there's anybody that can say that the storytelling has become worse compared to how it was. But maybe people don't like the storyline itself, and that all comes down to taste. You know, there's no arguing taste. Is there any info about Velen in Legion? Our Velen? Nope. And that's actually really interesting, because if there's anybody that should be interested in the Legion returning, it should be Velen and the Draenei. But I haven't heard a thing about him. Which I was actually thinking about like a day or two ago. It's like, interesting. So I wonder how they're gonna fit in. Afternoon, Colton. Any predictions or confirmation about the Nightfallen? Yeah, I'm trying to think, are the Nightfallen the ones exiled or not? Are they just called Nightfallen in general? Oh yeah, Nightborne. Nightborne was their original name. Like, I was like Night Elves, Nightborne, whatever. Any confirmation about the Nightfallen? Nightfallen are exiled Nightborne out of their city. They're very much dependent on their mana source, on their well. You can very much compare it to the High Elves that turned into the Blood Elves, right? When Arthas showed up and corrupted their Sunwell, and they had to decide to blow it up because it was corrupted, the High Elves also started to experience withdrawal, and they started calling themselves Blood Elves. This is a very similar situation, as in you're exiled, you're disconnected from your power source, and you're gonna feel withdrawal. You need to find a new source of power, otherwise you're gonna fall even further into wretched, I think they called them. And once you reach that part, there's no going back. And that's about all we know, to be honest. They are gonna be allies, as far as I remember. Some of them anyways, so yeah. Howdy Kiliak, howdy Lucia. We do lore videos about the zones in WoW. One day I want to cover each and every bit of lore that World of Warcraft and Warcraft itself has to offer. So I hope so. Centaurs. Centaurs are the hyenas, right? If Gul'dan raised the Broken Isles, how are all these elves civilizations thriving on this continent? I believe what they're gonna do with it is a little bit of retconning. Instead of Gul'dan, like, so hello. Speaking is hard sometimes. Let me take a sip. Much better. What they're gonna do is say that the whole area surrounding the Tomb of Sargeras was always there, and that Gul'dan only raised the Tomb of Sargeras out of the water. I believe that's the explanation they're going with. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what they're going with. And that's the reason why this ancient Night Elf civilization is still chilling there. Was it Elune once thought to be an ogre? Was she? I don't know. Do you have any plans to level up characters and stream YouTube to different web storylines? Yes. Absolutely, Maudi. That's actually why I was leveling up my priest today. I don't know if I have the time to actually reach max level with all the characters and actually do all the artifact questlines. We'll see. But I'm gonna do my best to at least show my favorite ones, like Shadow Priest, Death Knights, Paladins, Warriors. Those are definitely up there. With Gen and Sylvanas having this rivalry, do you think there's a chance that Sylvanas raised Liam Greymane from the dead? If she did, then she's crazy. She's out of her mind because she wants to stay alive, yet she's gonna anger the leader of the Worgen like that. But at the same time, delicious drama, give it to me. Gimme, gimme. Velen likes to fuck up societies. First the orcs, then maybe the Night Elves. Nah. I mean, if honesty towards a religion fucks up your society, then what kind of society is it, to be honest? Do you think the Legion will win against Azeroth and Legion? Not in general, but I'm hoping that the whole Storm the Beach thing and waking up to a world burning, I'm hoping that that's going to be a moment in which all seems lost, right? In Warlords, they try to pitch it as you're lost on this different planet. There's no way home. And you need to make sure that this Iron Horde makes no threats to other planets. But it just felt like the Iron Horde were a bunch of pussies. Like, you fell over, and you fell over, and you fell over. Oh, look, it's a new patch. Everything falls over. I'm hoping for that moment where you actually feel like, oh yeah, we're in danger. Oh yeah, everything's actually not going the way that we expected. I'm hoping to see stuff like that. Oh, thank you very much, Ross. I disabled the notifications, but I'll check out the donations after we've done the Q&A, matey. Is Aegwynn the strongest non-god character? Yeah, like I said, power level pretty much depends on what the story requires. And I would say that Maiev was more powerful than Aegwynn, and Medan was definitely more powerful than Maiev and Aegwynn. So no. I would say no. Noble Arthas was human and very alive when he claimed Frostmourne. And in the end of the campaign, he was still living. But in the Frozen Throne campaign, he was called Death Knight. Did Ner'zhul kill him? Because he looks a bit pale. But then he should not bleed or care about sword wounds as other undead. Example, the pirates from Pirates of the Caribbean, where they get impaled but don't care. What happened when he picked up Frostmourne was that Frostmourne claimed a piece of his soul, and then he took care of Mal'Ganis, and then he ran off into the snow, if you remember that final cinematic bit, and then he listened for months to the whispers of Ner'zhul. I believe in that time period is where Arthas died, and he was converted into a Death Knight, and then the next scene where he returns home to Lordaeron with the white hair and the flower petal that just crumbles. That's the point where he's a Death Knight and he murders his own father. About the whole bleeding part, or caring, that's actually added as a storyline during Wrath of the Lich King. Arthas noticed that he could still bleed, that he could still hurt after his battle with Illidan. So he decided to cut out his own heart and toss it away, which we then later touch. Tyrion finds out about this, he smacks it with the Ashbringer, he severely weakens Arthas, and that's all the storyline going on with there. Do you think there's a chance of Anduin making Greymane leader of Stormwind? Like, anything's possible. I just hope not. Anything new lore in regards to the Emerald Nightmare? Ysera is corrupted. Cenarius is corrupted. Malfurion is captured. That's about it. Do you think we deal more with Paladins of the Silver Hand, since tier 19 has the same symbol as the Ashbringer? Technically shouldn't... maybe. But I think it's more of a design choice, as in, look, you got this beautiful Ashbringer. Now you got a matching set to go with it. I think it's more in that regard. Are you going to play Total War Warhammer? Nah, probably not. Stop saying Legion like a French dude. Legion. What the fuck? Legion. Oh, oui, oui. It is the Legion. Oh my. I could make a stupid French joke, but I'm not gonna do it. With these Afterlife type areas coming up in Legion, is this going to invalidate all the other religions of Azeroth? Kind of hard to believe in anything else while you're walking literally in hell or heaven. Not necessarily. Like, elements are a thing, and the light is a thing. There's actual proof of that. So just to say that there is a variation of hell and heaven doesn't mean that that's hell and heaven is the same for everyone. Like, we know that the spirit of life is a thing. We know that certain orcs were drawn into the Naru. Spirits are there. We know that Karen's father showed up from some sort of afterlife. So there are many variations on it. That's the beauty of a fantasy game. That's just possible right there. Howdy, Zedkiel. Everything's great, man. It really, really is. Does Varian die? Make Anduin form the Army of Light. Do you believe Cerulean is his second in command? Hard to say. But it could be that Legion is going to flow into the whole Army of Light versus Darkness kind of bit. Could be very cool. And interestingly enough, a couple of people speculate about this. If you remember the Kilrock Deadeye fights, where he has the whole vision, and you're fighting in the throne room in Lordaeron. A lot of people were like, hey, Sylvanas is Warchief now. Is that telling something for what the future might bring? I thought it was pretty interesting. Nah, but serious, when will PvT, right? But serious, do you think Blizzard are trying to link all their current universe, as in everything is tied to the Nexus, like in Heroes of the Storm? Hard to say, to be honest. Like, do you mean the Diablo universe with the StarCraft universe with the Warcraft universe? Like, all those are linked together in one single storyline? I don't think so. I haven't played the last campaign of StarCraft, so please no spoilers. But I've heard that it's very similar. But I still don't believe that they're all the same thing. I think Heroes of the Storm is exactly the prime reason why it's not the same. Because it talks about the Nexus as this interdimensional area where they can just play around with each other. It's an awesome thing to have. But I don't think they're all connected in that sense, no. Are you looking forward to doing all the 35 artifact storylines in the first week? In the first week? Wow. No. Not really. How old is Cerulean? 50? 60? Something like that. Imagine Sylvanas and Illidan having kids. I just imagine zombies being born right there. Draenor was like a vacation, though I said it when Pandaria was released as well. I thought Pandaria flowed really well into the story, to be honest. Like, at first it was all about, remember the Shah! But then it flowed into the whole Horde Alliance conflict. I freaking love that, man. What classes are you missing? Like Hunter or Rogue? What do you mean? As in max level? All of them, pretty much, except for... I have a max level Shaman, a max level Paladin, a max level Death Knight, and that's it. Sylvanas is getting the spotlight. Yet I fear for what's going to happen. Time will tell, my friend. Who is second in command after Sylvanas? Nobody. Sylvanas is the leader, man. There's nobody... Although, there is the whole bit with Nathanos Blightcaller, I suppose, but... Yeah. Resident GP, thank you very much for subscribing, man. Be welcome. Who do you think will die at the start of the expansion? Varian? Tyrion, maybe? There's a bit about saving Tyrion and then his soul. That's about it. Do you think Thrall will die in Legion? I have no idea, mate. Maybe. Sylvanas still has the Valkyrie that she does. What do you think the role of Thrall will be in Legion? Will he be the one that is in this pair? Dead, or just tired, or near death. I hope that they're gonna bench Thrall for quite some time. Let the man stay with his family, man. He has done enough. Enough. They ran off with those crystals? What? With Anduin becoming King of Stormwind, the leader of the Alliance, could this be the fulfillment of Velen's vision? Could be. Jaina hear that the Legion is here and they're like, okay, Exodar fixed, we're gone. Where did Varian get his scars from? In the comics World of Warcraft, Varian is split in two by Onyxia. You got the weak-willed Varian, which is then later ransomed to Stormwind, and the strong-willed Varian, which is then taken by Rhaegar as a slave. As they're trying to make their way back to Fedamore, I believe, they're attacked by Naga at sea. And during that battle, he gets his scars, and then later he is placed back together. And that's... apparently scars transcend the whole metamorphosis coming together, and he still had them. Have they ever said anything, why the hell Khadgar is the Guardian Staff? This would be the perfect X-Spec for Medan to appear. Do you think Blizzard is scared to put him in the storylines? Someone actually asked during one of the BlizzCons, like, is Khadgar now the Guardian? And they said, like, we can't confirm it, but you might see more about it later. And I actually got the chance to talk about lore during the whole Blizzard headquarters tour. But I didn't check out the Q&A before I went there, so I asked about the whole transcending realities bit. Well, I actually would have wanted to ask about Khadgar, but, you know, that's only later. I think what we can see from the game, he walks, he talks, he acts like the Guardian. I think he's there. I just wish they would actually give a story to it, man. Like, explain why Khadgar has Atish, why does he have these powers, why is he in the council. It doesn't even have to be a big explanation. Like, just make a comic with the adventures of Khadgar and Chromie and be done with it. But yeah. Wow, Waxney! Wow! Are you aware of how cool you are? I am not Waroric, but I'm very happy that you think that, mate. Who is Metal, Fellstorm, Winterstorm? In the comics, Metal was part of the original Council of Tirisfal, if memory serves, where he empowered the first Guardian, Alodi. And this dude was so freaking powerful that he was able to use his own magic to bring himself back to life. Then later on, Garona had Medan, but Garona, with the whole spell on her mind, assassinating the king, she was like, I am not fit to be a mother. Here, have my baby. So Metal took care of Medan. Then later Medan found out about the whole Garona story arc. He became the new Guardian. Whereas Meryl found out that, I believe it was Valera Sanguinar, was infected by Khafre-Natir. And Khafre-Natir was the first enemy that the first Guardian had to deal with. So Meryl took Khafre-Natir into his body to make sure that he couldn't do any more damage. And that's when he became known as Fellstorm. And after that he kind of disappeared. So if you want more details, check out the story of the Guardians and check out the story of Valera Sanguinar. 2,000 viewers. Wow. Hi everybody. Welcome, welcome. In the DK starting zone, there's a scroll that tells the Scarlet Crusade priests to grow a beard in order to hide their imperfection in the face from the light. Do you know any more of these silly facts in WoW? I mean, did you know about the gnome fro? There was apparently a gnome with an afro. I like that detail. We should actually make a video about that once, like stupid details like that. Very cool. As a French talker, I order you to tell it. I love them. From a glass fantasy perspective, in what world are soul shards more fitting to destruction than burning embers? In the world where it's more fun to destroy your soul and literally use the soul of your enemy to empower your spells than it is to have little burning embers around you. Maybe? I don't know, dude. Any chance of saving any Nightborne fallen from extinction? Sure. Always a chance to save them, Malaysia. Is it possible Varian will be raised as an undead and marry Sylvanas? With that, Alliance and Horde will be reunited? The end. And they lived happily ever after in Undead. Bring it. What Warcraft lore character do you think is the best at Hearthstone? Valeera. And if you want to know why, check out the Carbot animation about Valeera versus Garrosh. And up, who's the dragon that is flying around Shadowmoon Valley? More zombie dragons? I need a name, my friend. I need a name. Do you think some of our current leaders could get manipulated by Legion? Sure. The Bedoran just subscribed. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Blightcaller died of vanilla, and yet he's making a return in Legion. Who do you think we go and save in the Helheim dungeon? I'm thinking Sylvanas, that is the precious cargo, but time will tell. Which zone of Legion are you most excited to level in? Stormheim is the one with all the Valkyrie, right? Then it's Stormheim. What do you think should happen with Malfurion, Cenarius, Ysera after the Nightmare? Hard to say, man. It seems like they're redoing the whole Nightmare storyline. The same one that we've seen during the novel Stormrage. Even the Dragons of Nightmare making an appearance again. I'm hoping that Ysera is gonna be a situation where we're gonna smack some sense into you, and then she's like, oh my, what did I do? Here, have a mount, so that everybody can ride Ysera. Cenarius can die for all I care. And Malfurion, I hope that he's scarred for life. That would just be epic. But that's just because he's Malfurion, that's just personal taste. Do you think like Warlords of Draenor did more damage to WoW lore than good? Do you think having a different person, perhaps Killfuss, seeing as MGT was merely a setback, open the portal for the Legion invasion would have been a better choice and skip Warlords of Draenor completely? I feel like Warlords of Draenor did not do so much damage. I actually talked about this in one of the Q&As. But Warlords of Draenor can just be seen as its own little thing in its own little pocket, and it seems very disconnected from the storyline. So overall, it didn't do that much damage. I mean, we lost Marat, but you know, Marat didn't do anything anyways. And the whole Legion transcending Twisting Nether, the Twisting Nether transcending realities, it seems like they want to flow into that storyline and do more with it. So time will tell if that's actually going to be a thing, it's going to be explained proper. I don't think that Warlords of Draenor lore-wise did much damage. Like, the game itself did some damage, but lore-wise not so much. And a different person opening up the portal, I think they did alright, to be honest. Do you think Gul'dan will make a new assassin with all the races in one super baby? I hope not, man. Is Madan now really canon? Madan, yeah. I heard that he's just a book thing and not really in the Warcraft lore. As far as we know, Madan is canon. I know a lot of people like to ignore it and like to say, yeah, he's not canon. We can't make our own rules. As far as we know, the comics are canon unless specifically specified by Blizzard that it isn't canon. But for now, Madan is, as far as we know. Why do you think we're going into Deathwing's lair? I'm hoping that we res him and bring back his sanity. We're going in to take care of the Drogbar ruler who took the Pillar of Creation, as well as chill out with Refion for a little bit. Bring back Deathwing? I hope not, man. They're already bringing so many characters back from the dead, let's just keep him dead. Do you feel Varian getting into the spotlight and dying is a waste story-wise by Blizzard? In my opinion, he hasn't really done much story-wise. What do you feel when you heard that Varian was dying in Legion? Actually, Varian has done a shit ton of things in the story, man. But is it a waste? Like, I like the story progression, but if it leads into a proper story progression for Anduin, then I'm all fine with Varian dying. We don't know the details. We don't know why or how. We don't know if it's permanent. So to give a real opinion about it is a little bit too soon. But I'm okay with it, to be honest. Bring on the drama, man. I want to see some drama in the Alliance. That's what I like. Give it to me. When the Warcraft movie will come, are you planning to watch it in Twitch with us? I can't watch it together with you guys. I wish I could, but copyrights and all that. Why is there so much hate for Madan? I understand he's very powerful and would seem like he could beat everyone and wouldn't need us, but do you not agree that a fresh slate for the lore character would not be great? And with a father like Maiev, how can you not be a great story? I can't speak for everyone else. I can only speak for myself. My main problem with Madan, besides the fact that he just picks up every class that he desires, that everybody sacrificed himself to make him better, besides all of that, is that he butchers Maieve's story from Warcraft 3. If you remember how Maiev was not willing to do his magic himself, he was actually working on teaching the world that they no longer needed guardians. And that story was told very well, right? Arkham was blown up, Maiev took his place amongst the legends of the past. It was fine, it didn't need to be messed around with. But instead what it did was like, you know what? The world does need a guardian. Psych! Here he is. here's another Lost Guardian, and I'm like, So that's my main problem with Medan. It just screws over Maiev storyline, which is a waste, because Maiev storyline is actually really good. So that's my main problem. Whatever else people don't like or like about Medan, that's their own thing. Where can you read more about Arthas cutting his heart out? I didn't know about that fact. It's in the game, it's a quest line. It's pretty hidden in Icecrown. It's actually in the Icecrown area. Just look up the quest there. It's pretty damn hidden, but it should be able to find it there. Or check out my story of the Ashbringer. I also talk about it there. And Space Muffin, thank you very much for subscribing, dude. Why the Anubar and Faces fought against each other? Weren't both serving Yogg-Saron? The Nerubians figured out that working for someone like Yogg-Saron was not the best plan, and they deflected. That is why they were fighting with the Faces once. If Ner'zhul's soul is still in Frostmourne, is it really a good idea for the Death Knight to take a shard from the Shadow Frostmourne? If Ner'zhul's soul is still in there, which is entirely up for speculation, then how cool is it gonna be to, like, subjugate Ner'zhul's soul? Like, get in there! Get in there, Ner'zhul! Roar! I'm all for that, man. Do you think that we can or will see Arthas in Helheim? Can we? Yeah. Will we? Maybe. Would it be cool? I don't know. I feel like Arthas' story is pretty much done. Let him rot away in hell for a little bit. Why do Draenor and Blood Elves always get left out of the main storylines? It's just one time to see Quel'Thuz's rebuild to its full potential. Because Blizzard has the nasty habit of introducing a new race, make them viable for that expansion, and then just forget about them and focus back on the orcs and humans bit. Just look at every single new race that's been added. Pandas, Goblins, Worgen, Draenor, Blood Elves. It seems like they're unable to continue the storyline. It almost seems like every single story is designed per expansion instead of looking at the global plan. So yeah. How old do you think Sylvanas is? Illyria must be like 50 to 60 right now. Something like that. Which would make Sylvanas around 30 to 40, I suppose. I don't know, mate. Oh no! Hang on, no! What the fuck? No, yo. They're high elves, dude. They live for a very long time. So Illyria is way older than 50 to 60 as far as I remember. I don't know. If Varian is going to die, why are arms warriors then not getting his swords? Because you're not allowed to have Shalamain. They're too cool. They're too cool for the random scrubs. No, Varian takes them with them into his grave. Or Anduin picks them up. He's like, swing! I'm gonna avenge you, father! Ah! And then he dies. Brilliant. But, some actually take that up as a hint. As in, Varian is not really dead because we're not getting his artifacts. So take that as you will. Do you think anything more should be a Demon Hunter class than what we already can? Or what do you think would be cool to see? A DH class? What do you mean DH class? I don't know what you mean with DH class, matey. Please ask him if he thinks the expansion won't be as short as Warlords of Draenor, and does he think that the Legion would end some important lore stories? I don't know how long the expansion is gonna be. I don't work for Blizzard, so I can't tell you that. I hope that they're gonna let go of the yearly expansion plan, because it sucks. And do I think that the Legion would end some important lore stories? Lore never ends, but it can tie up some stories for sure. What stories, you might ask? The Worgen storyline, that was started with Gilneas. Sylvanas' storyline, before packed with the Valkyr. They could wrap up the whole Nightmare storyline and finally make it cleanseable. A whole bunch of possibilities there. What do Canon and Retcon mean when you speak about stories and lore? Canon, C-A-N-O-N, I think you spell it, means that it's officially part of the lore. And Retcon means when official lore gets changed. For example... Sargeras, right? In the past, he was corrupted by the Eredar, and they changed it that it was actually Sargeras that corrupted the Eredar. That's a retcon. So that is when you have an established storyline, but they change it later on. That's a retcon. And canon means that it's officially part of the lore, as in... Varian is the leader of the Alliance. That is canon lore that's been described in the official material released by Blizzard. And then non-canon would be Maiev loves Illidan. That's not canon because that's something I make up in my mind. There you go. Why is he saying that Sylvanas is leader of the Horde? Because it's stated she took control on the battlefield. There's another question though. Will you think Silvermoon City be completely built? Well, considering that the park is still not rebuilt, I doubt that Silvermoon gets that treatment. If Helheim is hell for all living people or just the Vrijkool? Hard to say. So far we know it's just for the Vrijkool, but then again there is also speculation that characters like Grum or Varian or Lane or Lofar might show up in Halls of Valor. So time will tell. So the Vrijkool are coming back in Legion. What about the Tusker? Maybe. What role will Gul'dan have in Legion? Gul'dan is the one that's gonna open up the gates with the Tomb of Sargeras. He is going to party in Suramar, and that's where he's gonna meet his end. Check out my video called The Story of Legion version 2.0. And Decade, thank you very much for subscribing, my friend. Be welcome. Do you think we will get more lore about the Titans, or could there be a complete expansion about the Titans? What could be the content of such an expansion? There is definitely going to be more lore for Titans. There is, I believe in March, that they plan to release it, which is the Chronicles, in which they're going to dive into the whole Titan lore, and they're going to reveal more. And I feel Legion is also going to tie in nicely to it. Could there be a complete expansion about the Titans? There could always be one, but it's hard to focus on something like that. Because these are like the gods of the world, right? These are the ones that created a lot of the races. So how do you tell a story in that regard? I got 9 minutes left, by the way, everybody. I'm just gonna go through the questions and we'll see where we end up. What I would love to see is something in the lines of a RTS, or maybe a possible expansion down the line, where you go back to the origin of the shaping of Azeroth, to the origin races, to see the war with the Dark Empire, with the old gods and the elements and the Titans. I would love to see that in live action. Do you think there's going to be a troll patch in Legion? Maybe. Do you think the new Shaman resource Maelstrom fits their lore? Little bit. Little bit. Do you think Lordaeron has a chance as an Alliance city, or is it going to be Undercity to the end of the century? I feel it's going to be Undercity until the end of World of Warcraft, to be honest. I don't see them moving an entire faction. But I've been wrong in the past. What do you think will be the next hero class? I've speculated about this idea before. I would love to see a questline in which you can upgrade our current characters into hero classes. As in Mage into Archmage, Druid into Archdruid, Paladin into Crusader. All that good stuff. I would have loved to see that. Other hero classes, wasn't there something about Mechaniers or something like that? In which you battle with engineering skills in a mech suit? That could be pretty cool. Could Arthas be the precious cargo in Helheim? Could be. Could be. Trelia married a... uh-huh. And Je Ventois, 2 months in a row, thank you very much. Do you like the idea about the next expansion's Conclave of the Elements, where we are warned about some mysterious mage who's trying to collect power from elemental lords? We would be helped by some little elementals who will betray us at the end and claim elemental lord title for themselves, and after we defeat them they will merge into some super awesome elemental lord? No. How many Illidari were there when they went to Mardoon? A lot. There were like a bunch of them there. Check out, there are a lot of people that have posted, like Tauli, they've posted like the Demon Hunter starting area up on YouTube. Check that out. Is the 100 boost worth it to buy for 60 bucks? I can look in your wallet. I don't know how much money you have. Kinda depends. Hey Noble, would you agree that Bolvar is under the control of Yogg-Saron, since he showed us how he got tortured and stuff like that? Sorry, just if this was already asked, just tuned in. There's a lot of speculation about the Yogg-Saron Lich King connection. As far as we know, he is not under the control of Yogg-Saron, but maybe the whole Death Knight artifact questline is gonna shine a brighter light on that. I hope so. We're gonna get the blessing of the Lich King. Time will tell. Well, for now, as far as we know, the answer is no. When Raden made the elemental planes, how can the elementals, like Ragnaros, exist before he made the elemental planes? Elements are just that, right? They're elements. Fire, air, water. At the beginning of the cosmos, those elements came together and they were created. The elemental plane is more of a prison, sort of say, where they could just roam free without destroying everything. So the elements were always there. They were just transported later to the elemental plane. After the Titans kicked the crap out of them. Megatron and Morbido, thank you very much both of you for subscribing. Welcome, welcome. How is it possible Varian got one sword on the trail beginning and then in the water he somehow got 2 swords in his hands? How is that possible? The weapon Shelamain. Way back when Varian was split in 2 by the Black Dragon Onyxia, we had the weak-willed and the strong-willed Varian. These came together at some point at Fedamore, where Jaina blessed them with some sort of twin blades that they gave him. No idea where the twin blades came from, but she gave him. Here you go, twin blades. They went to Onyxia's lair to rescue their son Anduin. Onyxia blasted them with a spell, but instead of killing them, they were merged together again, as well as the Elven Blades were also merged into one, which became Charlemagne. Now, in the trailer, what you see is, at start, Varian is very much like High Royal King Varian, and as the trailer progresses, he becomes more and more like his Logash side, his wolf side, his roar side. And that is also symbolic as he picks up Charlemagne. We had no idea that he could do this, but apparently he was able to split Charlemagne into two. Be like, yeah, we're gonna wreck some stuff. So it's not so much, I wouldn't read too much into it lore-wise, but it's more of a symbolic way of showing that, you know, there are two sides to Varian, and he's more than willing to let both sides out for the sake of the world. Excuse me, need to take a sip. Holy shit, Towley, thank you very much for the host, dude. Wow, howdy everybody, hammers up. Do you think Demon Hunter should be playable by more races than Blood Elf and Night Elf? Not at the start. They could open that floodgate later on, but at the start it's specifically the Illidari that were sent by Illidan to Mordoon. And back then he only had Blood Elves and Night Elves working for him. So those at the start, and then later they can do it like the monks, like Demon Hunters will teach their ways. At the start it's definitely a good option. But seriously, Tauri, that is freaking incredible, man. Thank you, and welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. Noble, how long have you been playing WoW, and how long did it take you to get Lore Master? I've been playing since Classic, and Lore Master, at some point, like, I started off with reading all the quest lines, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read all the quests. But at some point I got bored with it, and I was like, you know what, I'll just browse through it. So it took me like, I don't know, a day or two? Something like that. How many Titan Keepers are showing up in Legion? Confirmed to see 3 of them. We've got Titan Keeper Tyr, Titan Keeper Odin, and another Titan Keeper that I can't remember the name of, but there's another one, and then there could be more. Do you think Legion have any connection to the Old Gods? Yeah, if you go kill Archimond on Heroic or Mythic, you pick up an item, something Chaos, and you bring it to Malfurion. And Malfurion recognizes it as energies that he has faced before with the Emerald Nightmare bit. And he makes the connection between Legion and Old Gods. So for some way, somehow, Burning Legion and Old Gods have been in touch with each other. At least that's what it implies. So yeah, there's definitely a connection there. Was it not Khadgar that helped kill Maiev and got the curse where he got old? Yeah, that is true. And how can he be young in the game? Or have I completely lost something? He didn't so much become younger, it's more that they gave him a shave, a new model, and he looks younger. It's not so much that the magic changed or that he became younger, it's just a different model. Something apparently that they always wanted to make him look like. When Raden made the elemental planes, we did. How can elementals? Oh, we did one. Would you like master classes? Sure. In a later patch, Velen comes with the full might of his people and a rebuilt Exodar and shoots the crap out of the Legion. And then just some massive whomp sound effects, right? Like whomp. How do they say that in StarCraft? Reinforcements have arrived or something? Build additional pylons? I would love to see that shit, man. Like some massive spaceship come in. Hell yeah. Be awesome. Will Gnomeregan get rebuilt somewhere in the future? Maybe. We had the whole assault on Gnomeregan during Cataclysm, I believe. I would love to see the gnomes retake their city, but then again, their starting area is pretty damn sweet right now. And as Warrock says, Warrock is taking questions from non-subscribers. As always, ladies and gentlemen, whenever I'm streaming, you're more than welcome to ask me questions during the stream, as well as send me PMs on Facebook. The link to my Facebook is down below the stream, or down below in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. Why do we not just bring back Arthas as a good guy? Both are sides with the Alliance and becomes impossible to corrupt, as we need both to merge into one. Like a fusion Haas situation? You know, bringing back characters is, you know, it's been done many times before, but I don't like it. You know, the whole kill fuss merely a setback joke, that's there for a reason. Like, Illidan for me is the exception, because they screwed over Illidan's storyline during the Burning Crusade. So they can bring him back and do it better, but other characters, you know, it just nullifies the effect of dying. Like, how heroic of a death do you have if you just keep on bringing him back? You know what I'm saying? Do you have a job, or do you YouTube and stream full-time? This is my job, yeah. This is, I mainly make, the YouTube is my main thing, and then I stream at least once a week to interact with the viewers and all the good stuff. Yep. What happened to Gorhal? Do you think it would have been a better artifact weapon for arms? No idea what happened to the Gorhal. And would have been a better artifact? Hard to say. I like the artifacts, at least I like the story behind them. But Gorhal could have been a cool option, for sure. Would you like master classes? Yeah. Do you think the Legion will wake the Lich King? And what weapon will he wield? The Lich King is going to play a part in Legion. And it's going to play a part in the Death Knight artifact questline. As in, you are going to get the blessing of the Lich King. You are going to go up to Icecrown, to Bolvar, Lava Man, as they call him these days. So that's part going to be playing. What weapon will he wield? No idea if you're actually going to fight or just going to give us his blessing. But I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out. Is it possible that there will be only one half of Varian die and one half still hidden somewhere and make this way to return Varian back? That's actually a very good question, Shingoji. That would be really, really cool. How many old gods that we know of that we haven't faced? There is the Titans and the Shaping of Azeroth. And keep in mind that that number has changed many times before. But I believe that they were said there were 5 evil gods imprisoned beneath the world. We have faced off against Cthulhu, but Cthulhu, uncertain if he was actually imprisoned or not, or if they just left him to die in the Sylvanas area. But let's say that Cthulhu was imprisoned. Yogg-Saron, definitely imprisoned. Y'Shaarj was beaten down, but then again still imprisoned within this heart container thingy. So Y'Shaarj is there. Then we have N'Zoth that we know about, but haven't confronted yet. And then there's still the one unnamed old god. Plus the addition of the old gods that they can always add. I'm interested in the new Night Elf race, whose name escapes me at the moment. Do you think that they might have a future as a playable race, or do we have too many elves already? We actually talked about this a little earlier. I would love for more races to be added, like class of race variations. Like instead of just a Night Elf, you can turn it into a High Elf or a Night Fallen. Like that would be awesome. But or Nightborne, they're called. Like that would be awesome. But the dwarves into Iron Dwarves, or Dark Iron Dwarves even. But that's up to Blizzard, to be honest. Where's McFerrin in Warlords of Draenor? Is he still hiding under Hellfire Citadel? He didn't show up. Like, McFerrin didn't show up until the whole Ner'zhul opening of the portals happened. And since Warlords of Draenor takes place before that moment, he didn't show up. Will the Warcraft Chronicles only cover the Titans' origin universe story as any other lore? Kinda depends. I think it's going to be about trolls and titans. It's going to be more about the start of the universe and all the good stuff. So it's definitely going to be there. When is the next Arthas video coming out? Every Monday, Viciousness. Every Monday. What is my favorite zone in WoW? Questing wise. Ooh. I really enjoyed the zones in Warlords of Draenor to quest in, to be honest. Except for Spires of Arak, but the rest were awesome. Does he have a video which includes Cressus Corialstra's death? Yes. Top 10 love stories in World of Warcraft. When did Fury change into a Lich King? Do you mean a day or two, or do you mean 48 hours of game time? What do you mean, Kilak? What do you mean, matey? Don't know what you mean. Okay, I'm just gonna mark up Elysia. And that's gonna be my last question. Did you see the Lich King in your garrison? Yeah, that's the suit you get from the anniversary. How many spirits does Goldrin have? He has given his spirit to Varian. He's also given his spirit to the Scythe of Elune. Maybe the Worgen? Maybe. That's a lot of spirit right there. Forsaken Paladins, please. Oh, fuck no. Please, no. Gnome Paladins, though. Oh, yeah. Could you also novel is Sargeras is actually the hero of WoW, trying to destroy the old gods with his legion? Nah. Sargeras, it kind of depends, like... Good and evil is always from a point of view, right? But for some it's good, for some it's evil. Sargeras wants to undo the mission of the Titans, whereas the Titans want to give us life and a planet to live on. So for us, Sargeras is the bad guy. Since we found the Moose Mount thing at our command is connected to the Rift of Aln, where Fury stands the big evil, maybe N'Zoth is confirmed that even the old gods transcend realities? Maybe. Or maybe in one reality the Burning Legion actually made contact with the old gods. So it's just the Legion that transcends it, and they're just partying with different kind of old gods. Do you think Lane Rin and Erwin Lothar are going to appear inside the halls of Valor? And do you think the Sylvanas is going to resurrect Grum? And what do you think about Ursoc, Scenarios, and probably Ysera being bosses in the Emerald Nightmare? Lane Lofar inside the Halls of Valor could be pretty damn cool. Do I think Sylvanas is gonna resurrect Grum? I highly doubt it. She has no love for Garrosh. Why would she want to resurrect his father? Well, maybe to piss off Garrosh, like, would be fucking funny. Like, haha, I took your daddy. What do I think about Ursoc scenarios? Probably Ysera being bosses in Emerald Nightmare. Interesting. Like, scenarios should be a hell of a fight. Same with Ysera. I said this before, though. I hope it's going to be a smack some sense into your situation instead of simply killing it off. But, you know, time will tell. Can you ask Noble if he thinks Legion will be the final expansion? In theory, any expansion can be the final one. And as long as World of Warcraft makes Blizzard money, they'll keep on making expansions. As long as there's an audience for it, they'll keep making expansions. Like Wrath of the Lich King could have been the last one. Burning Crusade could have been the last one. Warlords of Draenor could have been the last one. They already said that they're working on the next one. So could it be the last one? Yeah, it could be. If they're halfway into the development, they're like, you know what? I don't feel it anymore. I'm done. Could be a thing, but a lot of people try to link the storylines that are being told to the end of the expansion. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. If you look at what possibilities are left, two that I speculate about is one is Azora escapes at the end of the expansion. She goes to the other side of Azeroth, where we're going to go into the whole Dark Below expansion. As in Azora, there's going to be N'Zoth, there's going to be a whole new islands, all that good stuff. And the second one would be go into outer space, where we're going to take the battle to the Legion, as in Argus, all different planets, all different cultures, that kind of stuff. And then again, there's the whole possibility. Just look at Mr. Pandaria. They took a panda and they built up an entire expansion out of it. There's always the possibility of adding more. Like I said, as long as it makes the money and as long as they have the interest of going on, they'll keep going on. I think Volden is not missing, but he sees that he's have been defeated and he goes off to gather allies and other trolls and convince them to unite for Azeroth. And then he becomes the king of the new trolls. He'll be able to make Dracadia many trolls in WoW. Awesome. Sign me up, man. Do you see the goblins ever trying to reclaim Kazan? I hope so. And when they do, give the gnomes back Gnomeregan. We're good to go. What can Noble tell us about the Dark Riders of Maiev? I've done that one in one of the Q&As, as well as during the Artifacts video. Dark Riders are pretty much merchants that show up to Karazhan and they try to sell Maiev fake artifacts. Maiev was at the time under the influence of the Dark Titan Sargeras. And he was like, ha ha ha, how dare you, I'm gonna curse you now. And from that moment on, the Dark Riders were cursed to bring real artifacts back to Karazhan and hide it there. You can compare them to the Dark Riders from Lord of the Rings, who were very much like, haha, we're gonna get the ring now. That's what the Dark Riders did as well. So yeah. See you, Weaver. What do you think will be the next WoW expansion after Legion? Well, I gave you two possibilities already. Who do you think Sylvanas will leave in charge of Undercity? Good question. Like, Nuffinel's Blightcaller is not an option. Good question. Don't really know anyone, to be honest. Undead Varisa would be freaking amazing. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen. How long have we been going? Over 1 hour and 7 minutes. Alrighty. Which means I'm going to wrap this up for YouTube first, and then I'll wrap it up for the stream. Ladies and gentlemen on YouTube, thank you very much for joining me for this end of the month subscriber Q&A. We went a little bit longer than expected, but then again, we also got a massive host from the one and only Tauli. So thank you very much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, the chat room, thank you all very much for your questions. As always, if you have more questions, feel free to send me a PM on Facebook, and I'll get back to you whenever you can. As well as join me during other streams. I'm always welcome for questions, and always have a good time. Until next time, guys. See ya!